Hi there, and welcome to Women Conquering Consulting. This podcast is for women and by women who are already in or interested in becoming consultants, entrepreneurs, or professionals in their field, and is partnered with 50,000 Foot. Today, I am joined by Maggie Surette, CEO of M.E.S Consulting and author. Welcome, Maggie, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here too. So first, I would like to start off by asking, what kind of consulting do you do, and what is your area of expertise?
Great question. So I consult with business owners who are looking to develop their teams, strengthen their leaders, and really I focus on optimizing the talent within an organization to be the catalyst for change when they're looking to achieve quality results.
That's really cool. And what were the defining moments that led you to where you are today?
So as I thought about this, I was thinking of a few different things. So I look back over the course of a decade and I say the first defining moment in my life that sort of led me here was far before I decided to be a consultant. So it was when I had my first kid, who is now turning 6 years old. I realized at that point that it wasn't so much about me anymore, it was about them. And I really started to look at my life and say, what more is there, right? So having kids was a big defining moment in my life to say, I want more for myself and for my family. And then the second defining moment after that was probably when I started to read. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I hadn't really read a full book after leaving high school for quite some time. So when I started to read again, I noticed that I was so interested in learning and in developing myself, and it became a good habit to continue reading. So that was like a huge moment. And I know that I cannot possibly be alone here. So I want to say that if you're out there and you're just starting to pick up reading again, don't stop, because it's really how you get that momentum going to start developing yourself and figuring out where you want to go in your career. And then the third defining moment was when I had climbed up the corporate ladder. I had positioned myself in a director role, which was great. I was making more money. And I found that I still had the same feeling of stress that I had even before I had that role, but for new reasons, right? So even though I had the money coming in, I was working so many hours. I wasn't spending time with my family. So I came home, and I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I just remember coming home and saying, okay, that's it. I see that there's value that I have to offer. And I don't feel like I'm able to offer my full value in a job like this, where I'm kind of going through the motions, waiting for retirement. So that was probably the biggest defining moment when I said, all right, I'm ready to start my own business. And I did stay in that full-time role for quite a while starting my business. Probably about 6 or 7 months before I decided to leave. So anyone who is thinking about starting a consulting business, don't do it without having a good solid foundation first, is something that I suggest. But that, I would say, those are the three most defining moments leading to this part of my life.
That's really cool. Like, I know I've had similar experience as well. Like, I haven't started a family yet, but I went from, I did college a little bit, then went to a salon and was doing my own hair and had my own business that way. But then I wanted to, a little bit more, because I had some personal struggles that, especially with my education, I was dyslexic, and it, finally I realized, I could do something. I am smart. And so I went back to school, and, I wanted to be a little bit more, established and not just be, what's the word I'm looking for? Pinpointed as like a hairstylist. I wanted to be in the sales world and, and my own boss. And so I totally relate to that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we're all so much more capable of things than we give ourselves credit for, and I think that when you look at the possibilities and you kind of just change your perspective on life as looking at all of the possibilities available to you instead of limiting yourself and saying and thinking about what's holding you back or what outside circumstances tell you you can't do something. Instead, looking at all the possibilities of what you can do, just that perspective change really can lead to so much success. So that's awesome.
Thank you. And so my next question is, how did you determine what type of consulting was a good fit for you?
So coming out of or deciding that I wanted to start a business was a huge step. And so I wanted to do my research, and I knew that I was strong in leadership and in management of teams, specifically in the area of training and development. So I ended up deciding to consult for businesses around their people, because I knew that was where I could make a big impact. And it's interesting because, as going on a little over a year after starting this business and having worked with a handful of clients, um, I I'm thinking to myself as of recent, and I want to be honest here because everyone out there has these questions just like we do. Is it really what these business owners are looking for? Now, I think they need it, right? But this is another question to think: is that true market research is getting out there, and 6 to 9 months later, saying, is this really something that they want to purchase from me? Is this a service that they want? Um, and so where I have been focusing on people strategies and, optimizing the talent on your team, my focus now is pivoting slightly, with all of the challenges going around us rather. I feel like I really want to help people determine what's going to fulfill them in their life, whether that be business owners or, individuals that are looking to just live out their version of success now and don't want to wait and go through the motions anymore. Similar to how I felt when I was deciding to start my own consulting business. So, even though for the bulk of my time thus far I've been consulting for businesses, I really think that I, I'm going to be able to add more value to the people who want to take action and start achieving their goals. So I'm sort of pivoting a little bit, but while maintaining the business aspect of the consulting.
So would you like, because part of that, like you want to possibly help like individuals, like, like become more like a business coach as well? Like, help people like, with their, develop their business, like, possibly developing into C-level within their business?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, it could be leaders, but it also could be, like you said, individuals who are looking for support in effectively implementing strategies and systems, the same way that I've helped businesses with their strategies and systems, um, but doing it to grab hold of the reins of their life and living out their unique version of success. And if it's someone trying to start a consulting business, absolutely. If it's someone trying to start any business, absolutely. I think that people need this very solid foundation to start off of, which is, as I was consulting with businesses, I would talk to them about this and how their people were their foundation, right? So you needed to create this solid foundation of teams and leaders to carry their business where it needed to go. And so we would, talk about how to effectively implement systems and strategies to achieve that. And so similarly, it's the same for anybody in any area of their life. They need to, people I think that what I can help people with is really creating that solid foundation for their life, um, and then because it's so unique to them, I'm not here saying, "Hey, I have all the answers to give you success." I'm saying I have the answers to give you a solid foundation to build off of, right? And so that's kind of what I want to do, because I think there's so many people who are questioning right now: is this 9 to 5 now remote working? Is this right for me? Is this all that there is for me? And so I'm excited to see what this new chapter has to bring.
Thank you. I definitely feel like, you know, you're definitely going on the right path for this. Like you definitely I feel have a lot of confidence, especially with like this COVID stuff. Like people are really questioning this, like, whether I want to do just 9 to 5 or just become independent. And it's really starting to change the world. So I think that is a good step for you and your business. Um, do you feel that being a consultant is a great way for you to add real value as a woman entrepreneur while offering you the ability to make positive impact on what is most important to you, like financial freedom and time?
I do. And and now I have the ability to evaluate how I can better make an impact, right? Or I have the autonomy now to choose how to do this, right? And I think consulting does give you the flexibility sort of to make your own schedule and determine, what kind of clients you want to work for and when you work and things like that. And that's a huge piece for me. I wanted that flexibility. That being said, for anyone listening that is thinking about becoming a consultant, or that maybe already is and is still working on building their business and their brand, um, I want to make sure that everybody knows I had achieved financial freedom or independence before I started this business. And because of that, I was able to say, okay, what business do I want? I now have plenty of time to, uh, you know, take it slow and really develop a great foundation, to interact with people and engage with people, um, to develop valuable relationships, which is such a key part of becoming a successful consultant or business owner. And they need to trust that you care about them and that that you're going to bring them value, right? And oftentimes, if you jump into it quickly, and you are rushing to make money because you're either in debt or you need to make money immediately and you don't have anything saved to kind of get you through those first few months, you're probably not going to be developing those valuable relationships that you might want. So I suggest kind of having some savings before you jump into this, which I think is probably, you would think is common sense, but I think a lot of people have that wrong approach. They're trying to sell their product right away. And I think developing good relationships, quality relationships with people is so important, even if it takes a few months to do that. And now I have that flexibility and I'm able to reevaluate like I did now with this kind of pivot in my business. And I'm able to say, how can I really make a stronger impact, a more positive impact on people for what they need right now? So yes, I would say I definitely would recommend consulting for all of those benefits.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really feel like that's, as women, we need to hear that a little bit more and not just be like, just defined as, overlooked, I guess, and just that we're mothers and that we're not going to be as successful as men. So, I feel like we, like what you said, like, really can help other women, who have their own business and know the tips that they need to be able to go out there and still be successful and kind of be in charge of their own lives.
Oh, so much. Yes. And it's not impossible. And that's kind of why I want to emphasize this right now with, with who I'm reaching out to, because, I'm 26 years old. I had kids at a young age. I did reach a pretty high level of corporate success in my career after working my way up. And I didn't start out with money and I didn't have to take out a loan. And, was it extremely challenging? Yes. Like at times I wasn't sure what I was doing. But it's one step at a time, it's one day at a time. And that's why I said, like, continuing to develop yourself and just never giving up and having that right support system. I've paid into coaching and development training for myself, or reading and looking into different resources. And as you go through all of those and you figure out what works and what doesn't, for me, I would like to be able to help people eliminate some of that uncertainty and questioning where to start, and hopefully help people figure out the things that matter most, who are just kind of starting out, and to recognize that they really can do it. You can achieve the goals you want. It's not impossible, no matter what challenges you're facing.
Thank you. So what kind of impact do you intend to have on others?
So my intent is to impact the lives of those who believe that there's no way out of the cycle that they're in, of the whirlwind that they're in, um, or if they think that they're going through the motions, and that that's the only way, that it's not, that that's not the case. So, it could be leaders in an organization who just need support in effectively implementing strategies and systems, right? Whether that be to uh, pivot their business or achieve their goals, or it could be individuals looking to, like I had said earlier, kind of grab hold of the reins of their life and live out their version of success that's unique to them. I think that whether it's in an organization or whether you're an individual, that support is necessary. If you cannot effectively implement the systems and strategies that are going to give you that solid foundation and allow you to achieve your goals, then you're wasting a lot of time where you could be making a positive impact on yourself and others.
Thank you. So what type of tips do you have for women who are thinking about becoming independent consultant or entrepreneurs?
So I think that's interesting. So I think anyone, no matter what you're doing, an important first step of like achieving success is determining your core values and what's most important to you, because it's really going to help you feel confident with every decision you make, and you can align your values with every decision, right? And okay, whatever I'm doing, even if something changes, I know that right now this is right for me. So the another tip in terms of when you decide and you think, okay, I'm ready to go and be a consultant, is to make sure you have a solid business foundation, right? Figure out all of the legal things that you need to figure out. I went on LegalZoom because I had no clue, right? And I didn't have a ton of money to go pay a lawyer. So LegalZoom kind of does it all for you. It's a great spot to, a great resource to access that. But having a solid business foundation and plan is very important. Another tip that I have is to start establishing yourself, right? So how do you do that? Like I said, those first few months are important. Connecting, engaging, whether you create a group on LinkedIn or Facebook, and have add some value there and make sure you're engaging with those people, doing live videos. People are only going to trust you if they know who you are. They have to see you consistently and regularly and value what you are providing them, right? You have to know what it is that they want. And so don't be afraid to ask them either, like polls or questions and videos saying, is this something you guys need right now? And if so, let me help you, right? And then the third tip that I have is to set goals and then plan how you're going to achieve them, right? So if you just kind of go off of a whim, you're much more likely to fail, and get confused and get lost and get off track and have a million ideas, and they all might be great. But if you don't set specific goals and then create a plan to achieve them, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So that's my third and final tip that I think is very important.
I appreciate that because I know there's a lot of not just women out there, but like some people, like we mentioned earlier, like with COVID, that there's people out there wanting to possibly go down independent or entrepreneur route, and they are looking for those tips to be able to help them out in those, to be able to get their business started. And you mentioned that you, when we were just talking in previous discussions, that you have a group on LinkedIn. Are you in charge of that group, or are you just a member of those groups, and what kind of resources do you have?
Yeah, so yes, there's a group on LinkedIn. It's called Motivate, Encourage, Succeed. It is a private group because I don't think that you're going to get as much value out of the public groups, because you're going to get a lot of people who are just going to join and they're not really intentional. And so this is a very intentional group for people who are looking to gain quality support, and gain resources on how to effectively communicate with your teams, effectively implement systems that encourage your team members to achieve the results that you want them to achieve. And in doing that, another thing, if you don't mind, that I wanted to quickly mention
Yeah.
is so MES Consulting. I am the CEO. I run the business. I do it all myself, right? And this new project that I have created is called Your Successful Life. Um, and so there's uh, a group on Facebook as well. But you know, the main purpose of this is, like I was talking about before, is to really help people figure out how to live their successful life, determine what that looks like for them, and then achieve those goals that they're after. Um, so I'm going to be launching a building blocks course at the end of the week. I'm super excited about it. And I would imagine we could probably send out a link to anybody who's listening to this, and just give them the link to enroll in that course. It's going to be giving them the tools and resources needed to build that solid foundation around the physical, emotional, and financial areas of their life, to then be able to start creating a very unique version of success for themselves. It's going to be very engaging and interactive. And like I said, I'm very excited about it. So I'd love to send out the link to anybody who's listening.
Yes, we'll definitely include that with this podcast. Is there any other ways that like our listeners can get in like touch with you, just like LinkedIn, or do you have any other like
Yeah.
professional
So
pages?
yeah, so my website is trainingsuccess.net. You can contact me there and send a message. You also can reach out on LinkedIn. I have the business page is MES Consulting, but you also can reach me on my personal page, Maggie Surette. I'm a lot more active there. And pretty soon you'll see the Your Successful Life website will be launched at the end of the week with the course as well. So, yeah, feel free to reach out. I love to connect with anyone who's interested in learning how they can succeed in their life.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to like tag you in our posts. That way, like people listening on LinkedIn, like they could just click you and just quickly add you. So that could be a little more convenient. Um, Thank you for joining me today, Maggie. I really appreciate everything that you said today, all the tips, like, what it is that you do and like what about your business. And, I really feel like you're going to be very successful, and that, a lot of people could benefit from you and like what you have to offer and like your wisdom and all that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And these are the kind of opportunities I look forward to, just connecting with people. And, if this reaches any woman consultants out there or people thinking about it, there's so many free resources out there just like this one, and I've listened to so many podcasts, so I hope that someone listening to this is finding value in it, and you guys can do it too. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Join me next time as we continue to conquer consulting. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you for listening.